And we start with team coverage of this morning's storm with a live look at the interchange in Akron. It is closed right now due to snow and ice, and it's been steady and a steady go overnight. And we have team coverage, as Holly mentioned, to get you through. Of course, Holly is here, and Matt Wentz joining us here this morning. And boy, what a drive in this morning, guys, and it is messy out there.
It's really treacherous. I mean, we all have our own stories. We walked in, and I mean, for me, it was an hour. It usually takes me 20 minutes to get to work. So it's definitely, I think, an advantage that a lot of you are off today. So that being said, if you do have to travel, I'd recommend waiting till later, and I know both of you gentlemen would agree with that.
Yes,
Let's go ahead and start with a look at what's happening right now. So we are waking up to very heavy snow, and this has really been prominent throughout the overnight hours and started really on time and a little bit ahead of schedule around 6:30 last night, and it's been snowing heavily ever since. It's also very, very windy. So although temperatures have been hovering in that upper 20 range, we're seeing wind chill values that are in the teens. So we're going to have blowing and drifting snow at times, and I can verify that just from my drive in. Visibility is essentially zero in a lot of spots. Matt's going to be analyzing radar here literally from area to area. So where we've got the heaviest snow, you can't even see a car in front of you. And as we get a look at the next few hours, we are expecting this storm system snow to continue. Temperatures, as I mentioned, are going to hold steady in the upper 20s, but it'll never quite feel like that. And then once we're seeing the, excuse me, actual storm system snow start to taper, what'll happen is we'll deal with some scattered lake effect. And that last symbol that you see on the right-hand side of your screen represents winds. So it is going to remain windy today, sustained winds, some 20 to 30 with gusts as high as 40. And we're going to be steady in the 20s. We're going to have plenty of snow on the ground to maybe take advantage of. Matt and I were talking about that before the show. There might be some sledding in our future this afternoon when things kind of calm down. But in the meantime, yeah, this morning is going to be the mess of it. So if you are going to work today, and many of you will be, you need to allow plenty of extra time in your travel. And, you know, it's safety and common sense, obviously. You are much more important than rushing, you know, through hazardous roads and things like that. So just make sure you're allowing for it. And as we get into the second half of the day, we'll have just that scattered lake effect. It won't be nearly as treacherous as what we're dealing with right now. So it's pretty obvious. I always say where you see those darker kind of purple colors, we've got very heavy snow coming down. The warnings is what you're seeing highlighted in bright pink that continue through 4 o'clock today. So over to my friend and colleague Matt for just a detailed look at what's going on radar all across the area.
Yeah, so Holly, we've been watching the radar pretty much all night long on the hour, right? And we're seeing a downward trend in terms of some of the heavier snow. That's the good news. So you can see the darker blues, as Holly mentioned, that's where you're getting some of the heavier, more proficient snowfall rates. The good news is we're starting to band things together. So you can see out towards the east, we've got one band of some heavy snow. We've got a secondary band developing back into the Lorain County down towards Ashland County line. Within those bands, we have snowfall rates upwards of 1 inch an hour. We've seen rates as high as 2 inches an hour overnight last night. Things will start to wind down, but it's going to take some time. So we've still got some heavier snow falling from the Kingsville into Jefferson down towards Orwell area out in Ashtabula. That snow continues down into Summit County as well. The big picture, the storm system continues to wind up like a top. It's had a very really picturesque look on radar in terms of presentation. You can see we're on the back side of that. This is where you get some of the heaviest snowfall rate right on the northern end and the western end of that area of low pressure, and the bulk of that starting to push off towards the north. Perhaps one of the most impressive things with this storm system, you're looking at the water vapor. This is called a trowel that moved in here last night. It's a trough of warmer air aloft. Basically, you get warmer air aloft, you can hold more moisture with that, and it is a super snowfall producer right in this area right here. And we were just in the sweet spot with this system where we had the ability, at least of the atmosphere, to crank out these high snowfall rates. The good news, if you don't like the heavy snow, is this is moving away. That trowel is pushing off towards the north and the east. Eventually, we'll settle into just some lighter snow before, as Holly mentioned earlier, some of that lake effect takes over. But you can see we still have some pretty decent snowfall falling all the way down into areas of Stark County. In terms of traffic this morning, it's a mess. As Dave and Holly mentioned, we've got slow road conditions everywhere across northeast Ohio. The only area experiencing not too bad travel is you get out towards Sandusky. And then you get towards Toledo. They've had clear skies all night. It's a totally different ball game as you head off towards the west. The two big problems on the interstates right now, as you get towards the 480-77 interchange, a very busy interchange, typically later in the morning, they've got all sorts of problems. In fact, Independence Dispatch was saying avoid the area at all costs. There are a ton of cars that are trapped right now, and basically they've got 2-foot drifts off to the side due to the plow, so you want to avoid that area. 76 down in Akron at the Route 8 interchange needs to be avoided as well. We'll have more details in terms of who are the big winners in terms of snowfall and where we go from here. We've got some cold air on the way. We've got that coming up in your forecast. Dave?
All right, a lot of good information. Yeah, I saw a lot of issues on the ride in this morning, so please be careful. And right now, ODOT has more than 1,000 plow trucks out across Ohio. Crews have been preparing and pre-treating since Friday. ODOT says they'll have nearly 300 crews working overtime in northeast Ohio by the time this storm ends.
Our goal is always to have the roads back up to speed 2 hours after the snow event ends. Now, what that means is don't expect the roads to be in perfect condition on Sunday going into Monday, and definitely for that Monday morning commute.
And no doubt many of us will have to shovel out this morning, right? Here's 5 reminders to do it safely. Don't push yourself too hard. This is a heavy snow that could take a lot out of you. Make the chore manageable by taking some breaks. Treat shoveling like a sport by dressing appropriately and hydrating before and after. Pay careful attention to how you feel before and after shoveling. And if you have a medical condition or are over 55 years or older, consider asking someone else to help you out. And we have a live blog to help you follow along with the storm. That's up on WKYC.com, and we will be updating it all day long.